Ooh, baby, it is time for the Red Shirt Roundup podcast. Today is September 20th, 2022. This is episode 0, and this is the only college football podcast you need to be listening to. My name is Zach Carrier, and I will be your guide on this roller coaster that is college football. Before we get into the show today, I need you to do a couple of things for me. Like, subscribe, comment, and rate this podcast on any platform you can find it. YouTube, Google, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere. And share with your friends and family. Let's make this community great, and let's show the college football world that this is where you need to be. Why do you need to be here? That is why this episode is being made. I want to do episode 0 because I wanted to show you who I am, why I'm making this, and what you will get out of this podcast. So who am I? I am a farmer boy from Ohio. Not really. I'm not really a farmer. I was an FFA though, Future Farmers of America. But what I was a huge Buckeye fan. The Ohio State University. From Northwest Ohio, we just always really rooted for either Michigan or Ohio State. And there's no way I was rooting for the team up north. I will tell you that right now. The only times I'll root for the team up north is if they're playing anyone but Ohio State. Why? Because I want the best. But let's backtrack a little more. Ever since I remember, I would used to wear number 33, James Laurinaitis. I always wore his jersey. I was a huge fan of Jim Tressel, Troy Smith, that kind of era. And then we moved on. Everything happened with Jim Tressel, and we moved on. But I was still a fan. And I always just loved watching college football. I've never been to an Ohio State game. Mostly because their tickets are crazy priced. But I've never been to a game, but I would always watch it. Every Saturday, I would watch the game. We would have a little party, have my friends come over for the Ohio State-Michigan game, the game, and it always gave me chills. And I've never been a fan who hoops, hollers, cheers, or anything like that. That's not the kind of football fan I am. I'm a very perceptive, I watch, I see what's happening on the field, and I like good plays. I like seeing the ins and outs of college football. I love the traditions of college football. I love the stadiums. I love the jerseys. I just love college football, and I always have since I can remember. I've always been a Buckeye fan until I graduated high school and moved to Bowling Green, Ohio. That's when it kind of all changed for me. My freshman year, I went to the spring game in the spring semester, and I just sat there and I watched the team. I didn't cheer. I didn't make any noise or anything like that. It was a spring game, so, not much happened. It was just Bowling Green versus Bowling Green. But I just remember sitting there watching and just taking it all in, seeing what the coaches were doing, seeing what the quarterback, the lineman, the linebacker were doing. And I was like, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this community, this cosmic group of individuals who come together and create almost like a dance, almost art, if you would say. And I just wanted to be a part of it. So second semester, my sophomore year, I switched my major, and I reached out to, at the time, Coach Clausen, Dave Clausen, now of Wake Forest. I was like, how do I get on the team without being a player? Because, when I was younger, I played one season of football. Actually, it's a lie. I played a season of flag football, and then I played a season of midget football. And I saw a kid get his ribs broken. I was like, that's not me. This is not my life. I don't want to be hurt my whole life because I'm a big guy. For those of you who know me, I'm a big guy. And so there's no way I could really be anything other than a lineman. I'm about, right now, 6'1", 6'2"-ish, almost 300 pounds. And, back in when I was little, I was still a bigger kid. So I was like, in my mind, there's no other thing other than my knees are going to hurt, my back's going to hurt, I'm just going to be hurt the whole time. So why would I do that? So I never really played college football or football in general. And I definitely never really did any other sports. I did track my senior year of high school. But then when I got into college, we did some rec league football, but I never really played football. I was never in the ins and outs, but I was like, I want to be part of this. So I reached out to Clausen. He said, reach out to the equipment manager. I was like, all right, I'll be part of the equipment team, whatever. So I reached out to the equipment manager. They said, come on in. I believe it was after the first game or like right before the first game of the season. So I joined that. And equipment's, interesting. I got to wash jerseys of multiple teams, not just the football team. But I also got to, learn even more about the inside of football. I got to learn about the helmets, the cleats, the pads, what students actually get out of the college football program. And it just even made me want to be part of it more. So we got to go to games. I got to be part of the team. I got to go on the sidelines. I got to meet players. I got to interact with players, coaches. And I just wanted it more. And so I was able to assist in calling plays during practice, moving chains, playing music. And then I was set up to work with the offensive line team. Unfortunately, school didn't work out. They said, we can't give you a scholarship anymore. You don't get any financial aid. Your grades aren't good enough. So I had to drop out of college, but I still had the love for college football. But it changed because I wasn't just an Ohio State fan anymore. I wasn't just a Bowling Green Falcons fan anymore. I was a fan of the sport. I was a fan of the pageantry, the traditions, and everything that comes with it. And I think that changed how I looked at the game. I still root for Ohio State, but they're not who I love. I don't have a team that I truly love anymore. I don't have a team that I have to watch every Saturday. I just want to watch a good game of college football every Saturday. I'm going to watch two teams go at it, see who the better team is, and put on a good performance. You don't always have that. There's no lie in that. Sometimes there's blowouts. Sometimes it's a train wreck on both ends. But it's still interesting to watch. To watch a team go from crawling on their hands and knees to running and being a top team is amazing to see. Watching a team who is supposed to be on the pedestal and crumbling is amazing to see. It's wild out here in the world of college football. On any given Saturday, anything can happen. We just recently watched Appalachian State beat Texas A&M. No one saw that coming unless you watched them beat Michigan multiple years back. What I'm so excited for to do this podcast is to share my love and passion with you, the listeners, and eventually viewers. What I really wanted to do here was create a whole show. Not ESPN, but create my own show. Because I have, I believe, different takes, different perspectives on what college football is about. Yeah, I'll have some of the same ideas that Georgia's number one right now. Alabama is in the top 5. I'll have those same takes. But I'll also have different takes. One, I'm not a gambler. I don't do bets. So I won't be talking about gambling or bets. So if you're here for a bet line or gambling line, over, under of anything, this isn't your podcast. But if you're here to share the love of college football, have healthy, fun discussions of how a team's doing, and not get any bias from it. My plan is not to be biased. I believe there's always that inherent biasy, but my plan is to not be biased. I want to cover the Pac-12. I want to cover the ACC. I want to cover some Group 5 schools. I'll still cover Ohio State. I'll still cover the SEC and other schools, but I don't want to just focus on that. So I want to be able to spread the love of being talked about, being shown to the world, because I feel like there's so many teams in the Pac-12 right now that are getting zero love because they're on the West Coast. There's a lot more viewers on the East Coast, and so it's easier to talk about teams, players, and things like that on the East Coast. So I just want to make sure that we all understand. I will try not to be biased, but there is that inherent bias. Another thing what I want to get into on this podcast is on Tuesdays, I want to recap. I want to recap what happened this past Saturday, Thursday, Saturday, Wednesday, whatever day the game is, because I know there's some action and there's some other games that are played not on Saturdays that I still want to be able to talk about. And then on Thursdays, I want to preview what's going to happen this next weekend. So my plan is right now to have podcasts on Tuesdays and Thursdays, recaps and previews. Make sure you check out those. We should have one actually coming out on Wednesday. I want to get some recap on what's happening because there's a lot I want to talk about. There's a lot that has happened. There's a lot that hasn't happened that should be happening, and just some interesting takes. I also want to be a person who listens to feedback, so make sure you leave those comments. I also want to be a person who can have those discussions, bring guests on, have healthy discussions, not just have a debate to have a debate or have a argument to have an argument, but I want to be able to have a conversation with people who have a passion for college football like I do, who can see beyond bets, who can see beyond money, who can see beyond that it's just a sport. It's a living for some people. Some of these kids in college football, this is what they have. They're not going to go beyond the pros, but they're going to do amazing things in college football. I want to be able to talk about those people without having to, oh, is this guy going to go high in the draft? We'll talk about people who go in the draft. Don't worry about that. But those aren't the only people we'll talk about. Because there are kids who are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into this game who I don't think get enough recognition. And I want to recognize those people. I want to recognize those people who are on the defensive line. Those people who you don't see as often, kickers, punters. I want to give love and appreciation to people who aren't just in the spotlight all the time. But I also want to, pay respects to those people who are. I want to be able to talk about Caleb Williams and people like that, CJ Stroud, Nick Singleton, people who are putting up numbers. And I also want to be talking about coaches. I want to talk about things like Herm Edwards being fired, Scott Frost. I want to talk about the Auburn situation right now. I just want to be able to talk about everything I can within about an hour. I want these episodes to be about an hour. This one's going to be shorter just because it's just more of an introduction episode and kind of getting to know me, my voice, who I am, why I love this, and just going through the motion of, putting out an episode 0. It's like, week 0. Most people won't pay attention, but there's some substance in there. I want to show the world that college football is the best sport there is. Better than the NFL, better than basketball, baseball, anything. College football is the best. It's the best because of the traditions. Howard's Rock, dotting the I, touching the Panthers' nose, War Eagle, Chief Osceola, Traveler, Bevo, things like that, Uga, things like that, the running of the bison in Colorado. Those are the things that I love. I also want to talk about the pageantry, the immense amount of work and effort that goes into creating a single game. The work that is put in, not just by the teams and the players and the coaches, but by the fans, by the people who tailgate, people who make podcasts, radio shows, and things like that. This isn't just about the game. This is more. And I think that's what's great about college football. It's not just about the game. It's about the fans. It's about the cheering. It's about the 12th man. And that's what's so amazing about college football. The NFL is a great sport, but it doesn't live up to what college football has. The pageantry, the traditions that I keep talking about, just doesn't have it. And I think that is what gets to me the most. I went to Stanford USC game recently, got to go check out the farm. It was awesome to say I've been to the farm. It was awesome to see all these people tailgating, whether it was USC fans or Stanford fans, getting to see the team run out onto the field, getting to see the recognition of Andrew Luck, great Stanford quarterback. And it was amazing to see the fans cheering, booing, whatever they were doing, just watching a spectacle. Stanford absolutely got blown out on that, but it was amazing to see everything that was happening. That was the first time I ever watched a RPO in person, run past option, and it was crazy to see, but it was great to see because it was something different for me. And I think that's what really gets me going about this, is that there's so many different aspects to college football. The little changes, the little plays, each playbook is different, and you see so many different kind of players. And sometimes they're once in a lifetime players. And I think that's the most exciting thing, because sometimes they won't even go to the pros. Those players who do amazing things in college football just can't make it into the pros. And to watch that is some of the best football, some of the best TV, period. And it's so exciting to watch. And lastly, what I want to talk about is you. I appreciate each and every one of you who already have shown love and passion. I am very thankful to have a family, a girlfriend, and a wonderful group of friends who back me and want to support me. I want to grow this. This is a passion that I've had for a while. I haven't been able to do this, one, for my own reasons, and two is I just wasn't always watching football. I've always loved college football, but I moved to the Cleveland area, and for a couple years we just didn't have TV, and I was gonna go to B-dubs or to a bar and just sit and watch football all day. That's just not who I am. I'm pretty introverted, unless I'm on a microphone, but I'm pretty introverted in myself. So for me to sit in a crowded place by myself, it was kind of weird. But then I moved to California. We're out here in the beautiful sunny California, and it has brought me the passion again of college football. And I think that it's always great to sometimes go away from your passions to get those back, because sometimes you need to get a revival to get that feeling back. And that's what has happened. I've gotten that feeling back, that excitement, the love of college football back again. Being able to watch that Penn State Auburn game, being able to see just a underrated Penn State and overrated Auburn team just go at it, and just see actually like where these teams are. It's beautiful to see. Not for Auburn fans, but as a fan of football, you were just like, wow, this team's not where it's supposed to be, or this team over here, Penn State, is way ahead of schedule, or people just doubted Penn State. And seeing this clash is just, it's amazing to see. And so I'm very excited for this. And I would just want to thank each and every one of you for listening to this podcast, following me on Twitter, and commenting and just having conversations with me. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, or if you have a different idea of what's happening in Texas A&M, Auburn, what's happening at USC, the Pac-12, tweet at me. Make sure you let me know your thoughts, because I just want to be able to have this healthy, friendly conversation and get your views. I want to be able to discuss, to teach, to help people learn about college football. That's also very exciting for me, to teach people about college football, to show people how amazing college football is, how much fun it is to watch, to grow and to live in that environment, to show people about different kind of traditions, different kind of play styles, different kind of coaches, and just to be able to show that this is something that you don't see anywhere else except in college football. You don't see the marching bands. You don't see the mascots. You don't see the coaches, the players, the crowd that college football has anywhere else. And you don't get this podcast anywhere else. I want to thank you for listening today. We're going to cut it there. We are excited to bring you this show. And like I said, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends and family. We'll be everywhere. This show is going to be everywhere. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. Much love. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, you can email me, redshirtroundup@gmail.com. You can tweet at me, redshirtroundup. And follow me on any social media that I am on. Thank you. Make sure you have a great night.